When babies eat at the breast, they naturally go through suck, swallow, breathe patterns. They'll do a few sucks and swallows, then pause a few seconds to breathe and rest. Milk flows from the breast in waves. It releases kind of fast and then slows down through the feeding. But with bottles, those nipples often flow really fast, and so babies aren't able to control it quite so well. Because of that fast flow, sometimes they actually struggle to breathe a little bit. And if you hook them up on monitors, you can see that their oxygen saturation actually decreases during bottle feeding. Pace bottle feeding will help slow down feedings to help keep oxygen levels up, avoid overfeeding, and hopefully avoid milk flow problems with breastfed babies. Before we begin with how to pace feedings, remember infants have small stomachs. We want to follow babies' hunger cues. Babies should have been introduced to bottles before beginning child care too. Pace bottle feeding usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and it also requires closely watching babies' feeding cues. So to get started with pace bottle feeding, we want to hold baby upright. As we introduce this, we're going to be holding the bottle so that milk is just barely filling the end of the nipple, not holding straight out so that it drips all over the place. We want to avoid that because that's what leads to those low oxygen levels and those breathing problems. So to start this, we want to hold baby up, not laid flat on their back, and we're going to make them root for it just like they would at the breast. And so when they open up their mouth really wide, then we tilt the bottle into their mouth, just holding so that milk is in the nipple. They're going to go through some of those suck, swallow, breathe cycles, and they're going to suck a few times and swallow, suck and swallow, suck and swallow. Then as they slow down or seem to be getting a little overwhelmed, we're going to tilt the bottle down just a little bit so that milk's not in the nipple. You don't actually have to pull it out of their mouth. And then when they start sucking again, we tilt it back up, and we just repeat that through the feeding. It is okay. Some babies actually need to stop about every half an ounce to an ounce and actually breathe for a minute. You can talk to the baby, you can burp them if you need to, that's okay, and then continue on with that feeding. About halfway through the feeding, it's actually recommended to go ahead and switch sides. So with breastfed babies, that's going to keep them into a pattern that they're used to. And then for you as the worker, it's going to rest your arm too. And so that's a perk for you too. And so you just continue on that feeding, have them root for the bottle. As they open up, you put it in their mouth, just enough milk in the nipple so that they can eat, and they go through those suck, swallow, breathe patterns. Rest, few sucks, and rest, and continue until baby starts to show signs that they're full. And so we really want to watch closely and not overfeed the baby. And so even though it's tempting sometimes with those feedings that, oh, this baby usually takes 2 ounces, which is what is in this, or 3 ounces or 4 ounces, and they didn't take it all, there's still a ½ ounce left. Sometimes we want to go ahead and feed that to them. But when baby says, I'm done, let them be done. So yes, pace bottle feeding does take some time, but this is the infant's dining experience. We don't want to rush them, just like we do not want to rush the older kids in our care for when they eat too.